Café Anyway. Hello there. How are you?
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
Here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, episode 2833.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2833. I'm Mike Matthews. How are you? You're not me. I love to tell you things that might find you smiling slightly. In this case, it's about children all over the place. The kids all over the world. Did you know that San Francisco,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
San Francisco's kids are rated very highly?
Mike's
The number 9
Daily
is where
Podcast.
they land on the list of nicest kids in America, a study has revealed. I got this from Rachel Perez, who's over there at northstarinbound.net. And apparently this is what she found from Solitared. They surveyed Americans about the behaviors they witnessed from children in their respective cities, determining which cities have the best and worst behaved kids. So last year, San Francisco ranked number 2 for the rudest kids in America. And this year, we're at number 9 for best kids, nicest kids in America. What else did they find out? Only 8% of residents see 5 to 8-year-olds throwing a fit in public. Really? Yeah, but when you see it, you don't forget it. It's very memorable. Only 8% of people say, I've seen a 5 or 8-year-old throwing a tantrum. Only 20% of residents see 9 to 12-year-olds disobeying their parents or disobeying the rules. That would be the rules of the city that they live in. Only 20%. That still seems like a lot. Those 9 to 12-year-olds better shape up. I'm watching them. Doing that thing with the eyes, with the 2 fingers. I'm pointing at my eyes and then their eyes.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Which, as a listening audio situation that this podcast is, why do I even have a podcast picture? Well, you can go to mikesdailypodcast.com to see it, but it is a very cool picture of yours truly. If you're wondering what I look like, there it is. A picture of me. I haven't posted a picture of myself lately, but there I am with the very cool dog named Chewy. You can see Chewy and myself at mikesdailypodcast.com at Sycamore Grove. Oh, that's where I was with Basil years ago. We went there a couple of times. He had a good time walking around and playing with other dogs. Even though dogs are supposed to be on a leash, but hey, he was a good dog. He used to be very obedient and didn't disobey his parents generally. But what I'm saying is that it's a good thing to... Oh, what I'm saying is podcasts, I'm getting a little tired.
Addenda with Kevin.
And maybe Kevin, who has been on the podcast a few times, but it's been eons ago, and he just got married, and I know he's busy, but maybe he needs to be on, like, more often. It's been years. But here's what I would say is, and I don't like this happening with podcasts, is that a podcast you listen to. End of story.
This show is clean.
And you don't watch it. If you watch it, that's a video. It's not a podcast. Well, people are doing this thing on podcasts where they go, yeah, look at this. I want to thank all the people that are watching this today. I want to thank all the viewers. No, they're not viewers. They're listeners. They're listening to you. And so you have to paint a picture with your words because it's like radio, old time radio. You know how that goes back deep into the archives of your brain. It's an old bit of American media entertainment. It goes back to showbiz history. All the TV shows that you enjoyed as a kid came from their roots in radio shows eons ago. As I am at Café Anyway, and all these people will agree with me, won't you? That's right. Theater of the mind still exists, doesn't it? Doesn't it? They all agree with me. So what I'm telling you is stop. If you're doing a podcast, stop saying, hey, thanks for watching. I'd like to thank all my viewers. Thanks to all the people watching this. No, they're listening to it. It really is a thing. You'll hear it now that I pointed it out.
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
You're welcome. I'm on it. Now I'm off of it. Okay, on to this again. Only 25% of residents see 13 to 17-year-olds, your early teens, teenagers, not using their manners. And how are they not using their manners? They don't say please, and they don't say thank you. 25% of residents see this. That's a huge chunk. The worst behaved age demographic in San Francisco is, well, it turns out to be 13 to 17-year-olds. That's what
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
What the number one, as we go on a nice little picnic here at Café Anyway and sit at this table where I've got some wonderful things that I've made with my pressure cooker. Yes, I don't call it a, what do they call it? A something pot? I don't call it that. I call it a pressure cooker. And I made some delicious soup. Have some, help yourself, because my stomach's been a little tender lately. And tender is the night. But I don't know who's number one on this list. It's from Solitaire, so.
I got through that. I got into it.
But I can only imagine it's probably some place that's very, okay, Solitaire. I'm going to look you up. You've now intrigued me. Solitaire survey nicest kids. North Carolina. Oh. Cities with the rudest kids and nicest kids. Oh, but this was a year ago. Cities with the rudest kids. Okay.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
Let's see. This came out. Well, this was a year ago. Well, let's see. What is Solitaire anyway? It looks like, well, oh yeah, you play Solitaire on it. Yeesh. Well, I guess every time I click on trying to find out who the nicest kids are. Oh, here we go. As we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. I guess what they're using is a score of how rude are the kids. Okay, so Philadelphia has the rudest kids. This, I think, was a study from last year, as I'd see a date from 2023 on this, but okay. Anyway, Café Anyway, that's where we are, outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. I guess the least rudest kids were in Nashville, Tennessee. Anyway, go play some Solitaire, but maybe don't go to this website. Ah, so nice out here. Sun is staying up later. We're almost at the summer solstice in a couple of weeks. We're very happy that we don't have to deal with the getting dark soon, and that's all depressing. Now we got sunshine. Silicon Valley is ready.
I mean, people get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
This is kind of stuck on stupid, I would say. Silicon Valley is ready to side with the U.S. over China in a tech race. Duh. The Washington Times says much of the American tech industry is lining up with the federal government to develop a comprehensive U.S. response to China's military-civil fusion, a policy that has forced cooperation between businesses and the communist government in Beijing.
MTV News. You hear it first.
You heard that news first. Here. Or maybe you heard it elsewhere, or maybe you watched it somewhere. You were watching because you're a viewer, not a listener, even though this is a podcast. Some private sector leaders who hope to remain neutral now recognize that they must pick sides in the global competition between the U.S. and China. A leading software, an advisor for a leading software company said at a private gathering of tech executives and policymakers in Washington, said that I'm happy to say that I think the era of Silicon Valley's neutrality
Things to do
is over. That is their thing to do. The CIA agrees. Tech entrepreneurs and investors are no longer shy about working with the U.S. national security community and to be seen doing so, according to the CIA chief technology officer. Did you not know that? Did you know that? Oh, yeah, and Biden released 1 million barrels of oil to help ease gas prices from the oil and gas reserve. This from the Associated Press. This happened last weekend. The Biden administration said it is releasing 1 million barrels of gasoline from a Northeast reserve established after Superstorm Sandy. It was a reserve created after that disaster in a bid to lower prices at the pump this summer. The sale from storage sits in New Jersey. The sale from storage sites in New Jersey and Maine.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
Will be allocated in increments of 100,000 barrels at a time. The approach will create a competitive bidding process that ensures gasoline can flow into local retailers ahead of July 4th holidays. The July 4th holiday, and sold at a competitive price, the Energy Department said. I have heard from sources saying that this is a drop in the bucket. This is going to do much. But hey, it's something. Oh, and they also say he's doing this because he wants to get reelected. Okay. Whenever, if I see any Republicans complain about that, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, all those guys have pulled stuff during election years. Merrick Garland, remember that? Supreme Court pulled stuff to make sure that their guy the whole border crisis thing. They're not approving anything Biden puts out because they want it to be a Trump thing, like make it look like Trump's the winner. So hey, politicians, you know how when they're lying, their lips are moving. So I put nothing behind anything they say, there's no weight behind any of their complaints, is what I'm saying. So did you travel this past weekend over the Memorial Day weekend? Did you travel? Did you know that according to JW,
the Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
Oh, speaking of Trump, yeah. I don't want anybody to pass anything that might stop the border crisis. And this is my best Trump impression ever. I sound like a pirate. So the U.S. Department of Transportation Air Travel Consumer Report was put out, and J.W. Surety Bonds did an analysis of it. And I got this from Kyler Simmons, who sent it to me from frac.ti, and says that San Francisco International Airport has the most delayed departures during Memorial Day weekend. 27.8% of the flights get delayed. 27.8% of the flights during that time in the Memorial Day weekend get delayed. Los Angeles International has the 11th most delayed departures. Hawaiian Airlines, Alaskan Airlines, Delta Airlines apparently are the best airlines to fly, even though wasn't it an Alaskan Airlines that lost the door during Memorial Day weekend, while Virgin Atlantic, which doesn't exist, Frontier Airlines, and JetBlue Airways are the worst airlines to fly, according to this study. Flights scheduled between 6 and 7 a.m. across various airports tend to have the highest on-time departure performance. The percentage of on-time departure performance is as high as 96.4%. Practically 97% of the time they leave on time. Afternoon and early evening flights generally have the worst on-time departure performance. Yeah, but I don't want to get up that early. With flights between 2 and 3 tending to have lower on-time percentages. I have noticed that. Some airports have their departure rate is as low as 64%.
Pretty much.
There. That they 64% take off. Wow. That's fascinating, Mike. Outside of Café Anyway in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Myers. It's Madame Rootabega. All of that was very interesting. I'd like to do a shout out to my friend Tammy. Woo. Tammy. Uh-oh. How's Tammy doing? She's fine. Uh-huh. Oof. Who's Tammy? She's a friend of mine. Ooh. Oh. Okay.
Band's mutations.
That's a band's mutation. Is Tammy in a band? Yes. Does she play the bass? Yes. Does she sing? No. Oh. Okay. Well, I'll have to check out her band. What's her band called? Jorge. Jorge? Yes, Michael Rasu.
Cassette cubby hole.
I wonder if I have it in my cassette cubby hole, one of their albums. You know, that's very confusing. Is it Jorge, Jorge, or is it WH? Well, you get the rest. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, all of that was very interesting day. It makes me want to travel a lot more often day.
Yeah, let's go on a trip. Do you know that? You want to roam? Roam if you want to. Go around the world. That's what I would suggest. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. If you'd like to call me and add to anything that we covered, maybe add a flying saucer or whatever you want, or a stable saucer, a saucer that's not flying. And
you know, there's a real scary holiday coming up.
What is the next holiday coming up? That's like Father's Day, isn't it? I think so. Why is that scary? It depends on the father, I guess. Well, anyway, Café Anyway, there's a phone number that you can call and you can tell me what you think. And you can say Jarelname if you want. Even though I have no idea what that means. But anyway, here's the phone number, Café Anyway.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And all things Mike's Daily Podcast, including the podcast picture, past podcasts, even our wonderful radio station that I have at our website. It is there, all there at mikesdailypodcast.com. More info on that now from A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.